31st July 2017, the last day for enrolling yourself with GST. Even today, there is a lot of confusion in the market among small traders if they are eligible to register under GST, and if yes, what are the consequences to it?
The first procedure in GST compliance is your registration. So let's quickly understand if you are eligible or exempted under GST. Who has to register? So the first criteria given by the GST law is turnover based criteria. So that says if you are operating a business in the northeastern part of India, that is Sikkim, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram, Manipur, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, or from the state of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal or Uttarakhand, and you have a turnover of greater than 10 lakhs, then you have to definitely register under GST. So, but if you are from the rest of the country, then your turnover limit is 20 lakhs. So if your turnover exceeds 20 lakhs, you have to register under GST. Now, the question is arising, how do I calculate my turnover? Should I include the value of exempted goods also, or should it be only the value of taxable goods? Let us understand this with the help of a simple example. This is an example of a petrol bunk. So here we have different products like petrol and diesel. For your information, petrol and diesel are outside the purview of GST. Then we have oil, which is taxable under GST. Then you may also have exports, and there is also a possibility of intrastate supply. Now, when you have to calculate GST, you have to add your exempt products plus your taxable products, your exports and intrastate supply. So all of these together, if you cross the limit of 20 lakhs, then you are eligible to be registered under GST. Remember, aggregate turnover will be calculated on all India basis for the same PAN. So, for one PAN number, the entire business that you do throughout the country will be taken into your aggregate turnover. Also, if you are an e-commerce operator, who is an e-commerce operator? You could be working with Flipkart, Ola, Uber, then you are eligible to register under GST. For e-commerce operator, there is no turnover limit, which means if you are just an e-commerce operator with a turnover of mere 5 lakhs, you still have to register. Anyone making intrastate supply, your business could be big or small, your turnover could be huge or less. If you are making an interstate supply, you have to definitely register under GST. The fourth condition is any agent for that matter has to compulsorily register under GST. And the fifth, if you are a person who has the liability to pay under reverse charge mechanism, you have to register under GST. So these are the 5 conditions of eligibility of registration under GST. Now comes the question, who is not liable to register? If you're dealing only with non-taxable or exempt items, say for example, if you're dealing only with healthcare, education, milk, pilgrimage travel, etc., only with those products which are exempt or non-taxable under GST, you may not have to register. Also, if you are an agriculturist, you may have a turnover of 1.5 crores, but if you are only an agriculturist, you need not have to register under GST. So here are the conditions of eligibility and exemption. I hope they are clear. The next, let us get into details of registration. A lot of traders have a doubt. Do I necessarily require a PAN? Yes, GST registration is done based on your PAN only. Also, a lot of questions have arisen on state registration. For example, if I have a separate office in Tamil Nadu and one more office in Gujarat, do I have to register once or twice? So remember, state-wise, one registration per PAN is compulsory. That means for each office in different state, you have to register separately. So for a person who has a separate office in Tamil Nadu and an office in Gujarat, will have to register under GST twice. It can be done simultaneously. You can register sitting from the same place, but you have to get 2 GST identification numbers. The second question that is arising is, what if I have 3 or 4 offices in the same state? So let's say, for example, I have 3 offices in the state of Tamil Nadu. Now, per state, only one GST identification number will be given. So GST would be one number per state per PAN. But if you have different offices in the different parts of the country, for each state you will have to register separately. Moving on to the next detail, if GST requires you to give one principal place of business, that means one main place of business. However, you can give additional place of business. What is the principal place of business? It means the place of business which is identified in the certificate of registration. The most important part, registration is a must within 30 days of starting the business. So whenever you start a new business, you have to register within 30 days or you cannot operate the business. Also, for all those individuals who were never taxed before under central excise or VAT but are now liable to register under GST, 30 days is your timeline. Within 30 days, you have to register under GST, else you will not be able to operate business. There is another question which is rising among the traders. I do not have a turnover of say 10 or 20 lakhs, but I still would like to register voluntarily. Before you decide to register voluntarily, you should be knowing the pros and cons of voluntary registration. So, what are the pros? If you are a voluntary registrant, you can do B2B transaction, that is business to business transactions. And other registered dealers will not have to pay reverse charge mechanism if they buy from you. For example, you're a small stationery shop owner. So even without registering under GST, you can directly deal with customers. There's absolutely no problem at all. But if you want to sell to big corporate houses, then such corporate houses might not be motivated to buy under you if you are not a registrant, because they will have to pay the taxes under reverse charge mechanism. But if you have registered under GST as a voluntary registrant, such registered dealers will be encouraged to buy from you because they will not have to pay under reverse charge mechanism. However, voluntary registration has some disadvantages. Number one, even if there is no sales, you will have to file your returns every month. And also, if you will definitely have to pay taxes even if your sales are less than 20 lakhs. So that means even if you don't cross the turnover based criteria, you will definitely have to pay taxes. Please weigh these pros and cons and then decide if you want to register as a voluntary person or not. So here is a simple video on registration, eligibility, pros and cons of voluntary registration. Remember, every change is hard in the beginning. It gets messy in the middle, but in the end, it's gorgeous. So let's look at GST as a good and simple tax and take our first step forward.
Here is a humble request to all those educated Indians and computer literates. If you have somebody nearby who's finding it difficult to register under GST or there is confusion around it, please do watch the video and help him. Thank you so much for supporting the initiative of Officers As Academy to help people easily understand GST.